Hi everyone, my name's Rachel Evans, as Greg says. I'm the product manager for our contextual portfolio, so things like VML, OML, VMD, and all those. So I'm here today to give you an overview of all of our products and everything we've been doing recently, and a few things coming up to give you an idea of sort of the news from the products team. We'll give you a quick run through of what we've been doing with our products at the moment, go through the majority of the portfolios there, and also give you a little view on some of the future products and things that we've got coming up over the next couple of months. So we'll start our product update with MasterMap Topography layer. The big news for Topography layer at the moment is obviously the Descriptive Terms upgrade, which has finished. It's taken us quite a while to get this rolled out, as I'm sure some of you will be aware. It is now complete. We've rolled them out over, I think it was 6 or 7 epochs, but the full list of the new 76 are now available in your data. So you should be able to identify and interrogate a lot more features and visualize more of those terms. Alongside with this, the new cartographic styles are available on GitHub. So if you're not already using the ones that our team have put out, it's definitely worth going and having a look at those. Helps you make the most of that data, as well as being able to use it on the analytical side as well. Alongside the Topography layer portfolio, the building height attributes. So we've now released the next set of BHA data. This puts us over 90% of buildings in GB are covered. So we've pretty much completely refreshed what was the previous alpha coverage. And this release covers a much greater percentage of the country. Obviously, the aim is to have 100%, but this release takes us a lot closer to that. You also get structures included in that, and we're now moving to a 6-monthly update cycle. So you should see this data coming out. Some of you might be aware there was a small issue in releasing the data that has now been resolved. So you should all have the full data in your holdings now, or available to go and get. So moving on to address-based improvements. The 3 we've got to talk about here are some of the ongoing programs that we're doing in address-based, to give those of you using the product a bit of an eye on the data improvements that you should be seeing. The representative point code, or the RPC. This is an attribute that's been in the product for a while that we're aware is a bit of a source of frustration for some customers. Doesn't always do what it's supposed to, maybe doesn't act the same all over the country. So we've done some work to try and improve the relationship with other large-scale OS products to make that more consistent, and make sure that the values are being used for what they say they're being used for. Really, we're just introducing consistency on this. So got some diagrams to sort of show how this works. We're changing 13 million RPC values. So obviously this has produced quite a lot of change with how we're doing this. So we're rolling out over 3 epochs. I believe the first one's already come in, so you'll have seen some of the data, and then over the next 2 epochs, up to epoch 64, you'll see these changes come in. We've revised the RPC descriptions, so you should have some emails about that if you're an address-based customer, to just clarify what these are actually meaning. And this should now mean that, for example, your RPC 1 values are definitely in a building, RPC 3s are new, 2s are somewhere in a building but not quite in the centre, and you can really start relying on that attribute, so it's geometrically calculated. Those of you that are address-based customers, if you want any more detail about that, you will have had some emails. Go check it out. But as I say, the data is now starting to be with you. The next address-based program is the Coordinate Improvement Program. So this is an ongoing program that we've been doing for quite a while now. And we're really starting to put a lot of effort into checking that those coordinates are correct. We've checked over 360,000 this year. I suspect that figure is now higher. So we've been using these slides for a month or so. So as this program's ongoing, that number continues going up. And we're using some of our surveyors to assist the custodians to be able to get those locations as correct as possible for as many points as possible. So you'll see those movements going on in your data. And the third one is classifications. So again, like the coordinates, this is an ongoing program that we're aware we need to put some focus on. So between OS and Geoplace and the custodians, this is something that we're really targeting. Coming up to, I think, 30 million changes since the start of this year, mostly focused on residential classifications and getting them up to tertiary values. So you really know what it is you're looking at when you look at your data, and being able to make those distinctions between the different types of residential. So just to give you an idea with the image here, at the beginning of the year, these were all classified the same, and now you can see the real difference within them, and actually start building up that picture of what that area really looks like. Just to clarify, that's residential houses that we've got an image of there. I believe it's somewhere in Manchester, but nobody correct me on that. So moving on to the highways network. The big news on highways is the ITN migration. So there's now 137 days left until ITN runs out. That countdown is going on the website, beginning to look a little bit ominous for anyone that's not moved over yet. So really the message here is, if you haven't migrated, if you're struggling to migrate, please talk to us. If you're a partner that's having trouble, definitely get in touch with your account manager. We've got people on hand to help. If you're a customer, either come directly to us, come talk to us either via our CSC, who'll put you in touch with somebody, or via our CATS team, whoever you normally talk to, or go via your partner. If your partner hasn't sent you some comms out, we're trying to talk to everyone. So ultimately, come in via us, via your account managers, chat to us about what's going on with your migration. If you have migrated, brilliant, thank you. Anything you found easy or hard, let us know, because we can use it to help other people as well. But yeah, so exciting times in the portfolio there. Remember, that's on the support page that you can see on the presentation here. There's a lot of download links on the right hand side with a lot of helpful information there as well for anyone that's involved in that. So in terms of timeline for that, we've now done our workshops over the summer and autumn. And we're into what our sort of one-to-one engagement period, which goes back to, as I was saying, please do get in contact with us and your account managers as we move into that over the next couple of months. Also in the highways portfolio, we now have speed data available. So it comes in 3 different flavours. You've got a speed limits, or average speed and speed limits, so you can get the 2 together. We've got a dedicated launch web page with a bit more information. We've done a webinar on it as well, which we've made available. Some of you may have seen it, but if not, the link is also on that support page. It's been specifically adopted by a couple of partners, but I know there are others we're talking to. So again, if you're interested in speed data, come chat to us, chat to your partners, and yeah, definitely start having that conversation. So moving on to VectorMap Local. Again, this is one that if you're a VectorMap Local customer, you've probably had quite a few comms from us in the last couple of weeks. So this will just reiterate some of the stuff that you should have seen in there. So we're calling it a VectorMap Local enhancement. It does, to some extent, look like a bit of a new product, but it comes with the same fundamental values, but we've tried to massively improve the currency and consistency. So VML is now automatically produced, which allows us to cover the whole of the country in each release. Whereas before it was cartographically done, so our cartographers moved around the country and did as much as they could each release. You'll now get the whole country. So you'll see examples like this where housing estates seem to ping up, which is why we've had to sort of full supply you all. You're seeing quite a lot of data this time around to get you on that consistency for the automated production. A quick note to some of the structural changes you'll have seen. We've moved to non-tile bound features, or hairy tiles, as I think they're sometimes called. So whereas before they were clipped, as on the left, you'll now see features across the tile edge are included on both tiles. Some exceptions, things like high water lines and contours would be a bit long, so we still cut those, but all other features will be maintained across the tile edge. We've changed building representation based on customer feedback in terms of what you use VML for and what you find most useful. We've had a look at how we generalize buildings and the parameters we use for those. So the upshot of it is you'll see a lot more detail coming in. Smaller buildings will be included as well. And you'll start seeing more sort of juts and recesses on some of the buildings. It just gives you that little bit more detail. It is still a generalized product, so there is still some generalization there. But the more detail will hopefully be useful for those of you using the buildings analytically within VML. A quick example here, how we've also changed the important building representation. So now all the important buildings within that site are highlighted as an important building rather than just the main one, which gives you a bit more of an idea of what that important building is actually up to, and how the site functions. So VectorMap Local is now our first product to officially go out in GeoPackage, following on from our formats trial last year. We've got some very positive feedback for GeoPackage, and have been able to release VML in that as well. We've gone for GeoPackage. It's an open standard, platform independent format. It's compact and ultimately requires no translation. So that drag and drop format is something that our customers are telling us is very important. So if you haven't had a look at VML and GeoPackage, go ahead and have a go, and please do let us know what you think. Please do feedback to us on that to help us think about what we should be looking at for formats in future. So moving on to our next thing, which is the OS Open Zoomstack trial. Again, following on for customer feedback, which told us that the data is a bit complex, it's a bit hard to use, you just want to be able to get it off our website and plug it straight in and use it. So our geodata visualization team have come up with the Open Zoomstack, which from the feedback we're getting really solves some of these problems. It's one map from national to local scale, so you don't have to worry about loading lots of different stuff. It's all in there in one. Hopefully a huge time saver, really easy to use. The guys have spent a lot of time looking at the cartography to make it really consistent between layers, make sure it looks really good for displaying data on top of, for using as a background map, or indeed for using on its own. It also is, if you take the data files, fully customizable, so you can make it specific to your purpose, and allows you to get started with it immediately. So I think we have a demo. Lovely. Just going to show you a quick fly through using these. As you can see, we're centered in London. This is all one map, but it just flies through the different layers. Seamless cartography there. The guys have done really well to make that one map for whatever you're looking for. So following really positive feedback from users, it was originally a 3-month trial. We're sort of taking it out of trial, or we've extended that. We're going to make it a supported product. So at the moment, the data is still available on the website for you to download if you haven't taken that, if you still want to use it. And we're now planning future updates, so you should be able to take that in future. Okay, so just a screenshot of some of the feedback we've got so far. So we've had a lot of people try it out for various different applications and come back to us either through our normal channels or through Twitter. They've written blogs about it. So this is something that we're quite proud of, the amount of positive feedback we've got, and the community sort of bouncing off each other to get lots of good ideas. So if it's not something you've come across yet, definitely go and have a look at it. Have a look at some of the blogs that have been written so far with ideas. And if you are using it at the moment and you like it, as I say, some good news. We're looking at making this a supported product, so you'll see more announcements coming in the next couple of months as we do that, and hopefully make some updates and improvements to it. So hopefully that's given you a flavour of what we've been doing recently. As Greg said at the beginning, if you've got any questions about that, throw them in the chat window, and I'll come to them at the end. As I said, so that was sort of our current stuff. A lot of these improvements that we've been doing look at how our data is changing from providing maps that were primarily visual to richer, more current data. We know you're searching, you're analysing it, and then modelling it and visualising it in different ways. And we know there's a shift in priority within our users and our communities towards better discoverability, accessibility, being able to use lots of data sets together, and a focus on being able to use it sort of straight out of the box. So these are the challenges that we're focused on at the moment, and moving towards in the future. So as well as focusing on the products we deliver today, we're also involved in looking at what's coming next. We're working with a number of innovation communities to understand which processes, users and customers are likely to be disrupted by new technologies, and getting involved in the next things to come along. In the future, it'll become cheaper to capture, process and distribute data. which gives us a lot more choice and also a lot more opportunity. So our aim is now to start ensuring that we've got the right data to fuel Great Britain's future and new challenges, and to be able to work alongside you and our customers to ensure that we're all ready for that. So one of the test beds we're currently heavily involved in is the eCave project. So the current industrial strategy calls out areas where GB wants to be considered world leading, and this includes AI, the data economy, mobility and growth. So each of these involves shoring up the right data environments and making sure that the public and private sector really work together to supply these. So the OS Innovation and Outreach team is proactively involved in helping shape how this needs to evolve going forwards. eCave, which is enabling the connected autonomous vehicle environment, is one of these projects that we're leading to understand what types of data are needed to enable safe vehicles. So in the future, in an autonomous environment, vehicles need to communicate with each other, their networks, and also other infrastructure around them. These messages need to be real time. They'll have positioning information, speed, restrictions, and it's the interpretation of those and the sharing of those that'll need to happen in real time. So this project is looking at various different aspects of those, and also what sort of new networks, new infrastructure and new data will be required as we move forward into really different environments. So we're looking to contribute to these learnings as it all moves forwards, and obviously share those and allow the project to grow. So we've also identified similar patterns in terms of the types of featured detail, so things like street furniture and vegetation that are needed to deploy and manage 5G signals. So some of those patterns are similar to those that are seen in autonomous vehicles. So our 5G testbed project was in Bournemouth, which was a project to understand the type of real world information that's needed for coverage analysis and planning of base stations and those sorts of things to deploy effective 5G, which is obviously the next thing that's coming. So these are just a few examples of the new conversations we're having to understand the use of geospatial data and how that can help prepare the UK for new technologies. Here at OS, we're quite excited about the future. We know there's going to be a leap in terms of geospatial, in terms of the skills and services that are going to be needed to support this. But we're really looking forward to that and the challenges and opportunities it presents. But it's only possible with the support of the industry and our partners and our customers and everyone that works around us. So we know we really need to plan and shape this together. So whilst we know we can't always respond to everything, we're always really interested to engage with you. We want your thoughts, your feedback, your comments, whether it's good or bad. Our mission as OS really isn't complete if the products, services and data don't serve their purpose, don't improve the national critical services, the infrastructure and all the stuff that you guys are doing. So here are some of the ways where you can continue to engage with us, particularly to call out if you don't currently get the newsletters relevant to you, log on to our Connects page and check that your preferences are right for what you're getting. We've got a lot of interesting stuff going on our blog at the moment, which is flagging up things like Zoomstack and some of the other trials that we're doing, and also points to some of the work through the Geospatial Commission, which will obviously keep coming over the next couple of months, and obviously LinkedIn and Twitter as usual. So hopefully that's given some kind of an idea of both what we're doing at the moment, but hopefully some interesting stuff in terms of the product developments. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take some of those. It looks like some of you may not have actually seen the video that I brought up there, so apologies about that. We'll try and fix that for the recording so that when it gets emailed out to you, we'll try and have the video in there. I'll just give it a couple of minutes and see if any of you have any questions.
Yeah, thanks very much, Rachel. That's really really interesting. So the Zoomstack, that's the trial's it's gone down exceptionally well. And I think was it used on the BBC website recently? Yes,
yeah. So we've been working with BBC to see how it can be used for some of their stories where they do GB wide. They've been able to use Zoomstack for there was a story recently about price of renting. So if anyone wants to see Zoomstack in action, that's still up there on the BBC, where they divided it all up by the country and they use Zoomstack as a base map, which is brilliant.
That's pretty cool.
I think they're looking to use it in the future as well. Just they sort of said how usable it was and how customizable, which was really great for them.
All right, great. And the other great thing about the Zoomstack is it's one product for mobile and for GIS as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. So you get the same one. In terms of moving forward with that, we're going to keep both the API and the downloadable format, so you'll be able to get it however you best want to use it.
Great. Thank you very much for attending. I hope you found the webinar useful this morning, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks very much.